So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to set up the new example from KeyAuth and C#. It's really easy, but most of my videos I don't really break down every feature. I'm going to break down as many features as I can and actually show you everything that you can and the things that you actually can't do. So to jump right into it, make sure that you have a new project open in C#. This will be form, so make sure it's a form. And then head over to github.com/keyauth. Link will be down in the description, and then when you get there you'll see all these. Make sure that you click on the KeyAuth C# example, and then we're just going to go ahead and click on form. And I usually have people just download it and then you can just copy and paste over, but we're just going to do everything from the website. So you want to head over to your example, go to your Solution Explorer, right click on your name of the application, come down to add, then we're just going to add a new folder and we'll just name this API. Well, actually we won't name this API, we're going to name it Auth. You can actually, the name doesn't really matter, you can name it whatever, but it just makes more sense be Auth instead of API. And then we're going to right click the folder, come down to add, and click on new class. And the class name, once it loads, is going to be keyauth.cs. And then let it load, and then you should have this. So now what you want to do is go back over to GitHub, click on keyauth.cs, view as raw. Then when you get this, you can Control A and then Control C, and then come back over to your example, and then just Control V, and it will just paste all the code. Now we're going to have a few errors. The first thing you want to do is for the namespace where it says KeyAuth, you want to put whatever your application name is. So mine is CSHARP Vid 2022. So CSHARP Vid 2022, and then dot whatever the folder name is. So my folder name is Auth, so we're going to do that. Then on line 15, where it says using system Windows, you're going to do dot forms. And then we're going to copy this on line 10, come over here, click on project, come down to manage NuGet packages. Make sure that the package source is just set to all. Click on browse. You can go ahead and paste that in there. And it should be the first one that pops up. It's going to be purple. So there's .NET on it. Click OK, and then that you accept. And all your errors should go away. That's simple. And then you can also close out of the keyauth.cs. Now we're here with this form. So what we're going to do is go back to the GitHub, and once it loads, back once more, make sure that you are in form, and then make sure you're going to click on login.cs. And from line 24 to 27, we're just going to copy these 4 static strings, go back to our code, and just double click on your form, and then you can paste this wherever you want to. Just make sure that it's not inside of like a reference. So paste that, and then we got to go back to the example. Then on line 44, just copy that, and then we're just going to paste that right down there. And then it should give you one error saying that it needs to, that is not found. So just do using and then your application name and then whatever the folder name is, and then it will go away. Now on load, you're going to want to do keyauth app.init, and this is going to basically make sure that it's initializing the session. And then this is optional if you want to. You don't have to. I'm going to do if keyauth app.check black. And what this is going to do, this is checking if the user is blacklisted, or like the IP or the hardware ID is blacklisted. If it is, then you can close the application. If not, then whatever. So is blacklisted, and then you can do just like else not blacklisted. So you can put whatever you want there. It doesn't really matter, but just so you have the code. Now to get into the actual design itself, come over to your toolbox and you can set it up however you want. This is going to be a real basic form, just because this is just the example I'm showing you. So for the login, you will need 2 text boxes and then 1 button. So this will be for the login. And then I'm going to just change this to login. Then I'm also going to change the names of this. I'm just going to change this to username box and then password box, just to keep track of things. So now that we have that, you're going to double click the login button and you're going to do keyauth app.login and then the username box .text and then the password box .text. And then after you do that, you're going to do if keyauth app.response.success. So this is basically if the login was a success, then it will appear the message, and then you can go from there. You can open a new form or whatever you want. We'll just do message box.show success, and then else we'll just do message box.show failed. Really simple. That's for the username and password. Now if you want to do just a key, like so just using a license just to log in, then it will be like this. I'm just going to change this, just license box. And if you're just doing the license, then you can log in and register at the same time. So if the key was never used before, then it would register, then you can log in, but if it was, then it would just log in. So basically the same concept, just keyauth app.license, and then it would be just license box.text, and then same thing, keyauth app.response.success, and then don't even type it, I'll just copy this. So if it's success, then success. If not, then failed. And then finally for the register, just copy all this, paste it over here. For the register, you will need 3 text boxes, one for the username, one for the password, and then one for the key. If you want to know how to do it without having a key to register, but still requiring a password, I will leave the video at the end of this video, and then you can just watch that. However, doing that method does require you to have a cellular plan. So here we go. I'm just going to change the name of these text boxes really quick to reg username box, reg password box, reg key box. So now if I double click the register button, we'll just do keyauth app.register and then reg username box, reg password box, and then reg key box. And now back to if keyauth app.response, not register, response.success. Then we're going to do, I guess, the message box, success, and then, you know, else message box show failed. Now completely random, but if you wanted it to, then you could like clear all this and then have this data go from over here. But that's totally up to you. Doesn't really matter how you have it set up. That's just like the initial step of having it set up. Now for the next part, I'm going to show you how to actually show the user data. So like the username, IP, subscription, when it expires, all that. So this, I'm going to make this called user info box, and this is where everything's going to be located. So we have to go over to the example and go back one, and then we're going to click on main.cs, and this is basically everything that we need. So first I'm going to copy this public date time, go over to the example, and then underneath form load, or wherever you want it really, I'm just going to paste that in. And then I'm going to go back to the example, copy all of this, and then on successful login, show user data. This is when all the user data will show. Now obviously there's a lot of stuff that's missing, so just remove this. Now if you move this over to like another form, then you can use like form 1. So like if I did form 1, then okay, it's gonna work, but then it's just gonna pull all the data that's being used on form 1, so you don't have to like retype completely everything. It's just more useful. So I don't have this. Instead, I have a user info box, and I need it to check the items, and then I'm going to be adding items. So I'm just going to remove that, copy this, and just paste this in there. And then you basically just want to do this all the way down. That's if you are using a user info box. Now you don't have to. You can always use the method I'm doing or whatever you want. Now I'm not going to go through and add every single one of these just because that's just a waste of time, but this is how you do it if you are using a a list box. But if you're using a label, then this is how you do it, or whatever else you want, like a rich text box, for example. Just make sure that everything after the equal sign is in parentheses. But I'll just remove these, and then I'll just add 2 of them so you can actually see that it works after I log in. So user info box.items.add, and then we'll just copy all this, and remove that one, and then there it goes. It's going to show me my expiration as well as my username when I log in. So that's pretty much all you need for that. And now the last thing that we need, we're just going to copy and paste that. And then we're going to just copy this. And this will be for the chat room feature. So this will be that. and then copy this. So this would just be send message. This will be message box, and then this will be all messages, if I can find it. All messages. For the chat room, we also need a timer, so make sure that you have one of those. And now, for actually getting this started, I'm going to just come over here. Oh, also, for all this, like the user data and stuff, if you're using just the key only, then you can add it there too. Don't do it for the register, because obviously you're not logged in, so it's not going to work. Only do it for the username and password, or key only. Just so you're not getting confused. So double click on the login button for the username and password, or if you're using key only, then do that. And then you can do timer1.start, and we need timer1 to actually start because it's going to be getting the messages for the chat room. So now you can double click on timer1 and we'll get you the private void of timer1. So you want to scroll down here and you want to let's copy this code that's inside timer1. Now the example is using a data grid. I'm not using a data grid just because I personally think using a list box is way more convenient and it's more organized, and I'll show you why once I set it up. So another thing that you need before you actually get started with the timer is going to be hidden up here, line 28. It's going to be the string called the chat channel, and we can just go ahead and paste this right above it, right above the timer. So now we can actually get into here and clean up this code. And now do all this. So mine was all messages dot items dot clear, and now all messages dot items dot add, and you can remove this 0 because if the list box doesn't require you to show where it's going, you'll need to add a 0 for the data grid because it actually needs like the table that it's going into, like the row. And then instead of the commas, you need to add plus signs. It's only if you're doing it this way. If you want to do the data grid and leave everything how it is, you can do it that way, but I'm just going to show you my method, I guess, just because it's personally better. With that. And here we go. And now one thing I do here, for the timer, when it's getting messages, I like to separate this. So I would remove the message, and then I would create another item right underneath, and I would do the message. So the top line would show the author and the date, and then the next one would show like the message. Then I'm also gonna just leave like a gap in between here, so the date and time and then the author is separated. And then if you wanted to, just to make it look even more organized, you can just leave a space between all the messages. If you want to, don't really need to, but that's just how I would do it. And then last one, items dot add, remove that, plus, and then plus. So pretty simple setup. So now for the button send, it should be right down here. Yes, send message. So we'll just copy this, paste that in there, remove that because we don't need that. Chat message is just what it what the box is. So mine's the message box. The data grid is all messages dot items dot add. Remove the 0. Remove that. Message box. This is message box. And again, what you want to do is actually just, if you want to do it like how I showed you down below, or actually previous, like how this is, we'll just do that. Add some spaces, add the time, and then all messages dot items dot add. And then we'll just add that in there. All messages dot items dot add, and then just leave a space if you want to. This is sent to message box, and that's all that is. So again, it's really simple. Now if you want to do other stuff like setting variables and all that, that's really simple as well. On login.cs, it will show you the webhook, for example. It tells you what it's doing. And there is a video on this. I will probably leave it linked as well, just because the video, instead of me just showing you here, is kind of just doesn't make sense. Here it shows you how to download everything if you're writing as bytes. Now you can download it without writing to bytes. It's not really needed. You can always download it using a web client. It does the same exact thing, just bytes is more secure. And then this is the variable. So if you have a variable, all you would do is do, keyauth app.var, and then you would put the variable ID here. Let me show you. So if you create a new variable, you would put the name of the variable. So if I did like 1, 2, 3, and then I want this to show like, well, if I did like 2 plus 2, for example, and then this would be it. So if I did 2 plus 2 here, and then it would show 4. That's just kind of how the variables work, just in case you were unaware. Pretty simple, not that hard to do. And then I'm pretty sure that it's covered everything besides with the upgrade. So the upgrade is simple as well. So keyauth app.upgrade, and then it calls for a username and then a key. So that's pretty much all you need to do is just upgrade it, and you don't even need to log in or have them like authenticated to do it, because it's kind of pointless if you're upgrading, just when it makes sense. And then with that, that's pretty much all there is. There really isn't much to it. Just make sure that everything is basically set like I showed you, and then if you have any errors, make sure that you have this as well as JSON installed. And now I'm going to actually just run the program just to show you. So we need to make sure that we have the name of our application, which is this. Then I'm going to get the secret, which is right underneath it. And then my owner ID. So if you click on the icon, click on account settings, and then owner ID. Really simple. So if we go ahead and press, I'll just press F6. and then C# vid bin debug, open it up. Here it is. Now I need to come back up to licenses. I'm going to create a new key, 1, duration 1, that's all good. Now it's copied to my clipboard, so now if I go to register, I'll just do A, and then paste that in, register, success. And so now if I try to log in, A, success. And then here's my username, here's when it expires, and then the chat. Hello there. Status chat channel. Oh, yeah, last thing for the chat, totally forgot. You want to make sure that you actually create a channel. So I'll just call this test, and then, oh, actually, what is it in here? I think it's testing. Yeah, okay, so I don't have to rebuild it, just name it testing, and then add. Go back, A, login, success, here it is, hello, and then there it is. It shows my name, and then hello. I'm just going to close out of this, I'm going to reopen it, and then I'm just going to create a new key. So create key, blah, blah, blah. Go back, paste the key here, login, success. Here's the username. I don't have the chat set up for the key only, but all you gotta do is copy the code that I just did for the username and password, and then I'll just show you once more with another key that the messages actually go through properly. So new key, B there, register, success, B login, success. And then here's the message from A. Hello, how are you? And then here's B. So I mean, it's pretty simple. There's not that much to do when it comes to the setup. Not hard to set up at all. Everything is pretty much given to you in the example. So you really shouldn't have to worry about anything. Yeah, and then there you go. It's sent on both. So that's that. I will probably be doing a video on the C++ setup. I was gonna do it today, but I may have to do it tomorrow. But it's whatever, as long as the video comes out, I guess it's fine. If you have any questions or issues, or like to see any other video, just comment down below so I actually know what I have to make and what I have to actually break down further. And then we're just, I'll go from there. But overall, I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.